What happened to the cartoon stars who vanished from Saturday mornings without a trace? Before superheroes and space rangers took over, Hanna-Barbera filled TV screens with talking animals, daydreaming heroes, and wild personalities that defined the 1960s. Some became icons, while others quietly faded away. But hidden deep in the archives are 12 characters who once ruled the airwaves, and their stories deserve a comeback. Let's bring them back to life. Number 12. Touche Turtle. The Touche Turtle and Dum Dum Show, 1962. If bravery had a shell, it belonged to Touche Turtle, the pint-sized knight who believed chivalry could solve anything. Premiering in 1962 as part of the new Hanna-Barbera cartoon series, Touche charged into every adventure with his sword raised high, his plumed hat bouncing, and his loyal sheepdog sidekick, Dum Dum, right behind him. Together, they fought bandits, rescued villagers, and defended anyone who needed help, usually with hilarious results. Touche's appeal came from his overconfidence. He wasn't the strongest or the smartest, but he was absolutely certain he was a hero. That mix of pride and clumsiness made him one of Hanna-Barbera's most endearing characters. His trademark cry of "Touche" became his signature, shouted before every ill-advised charge into battle. Voiced by Bill Thompson with a thick theatrical French accent, Touche was a cartoon echo of Errol Flynn and Don Quixote rolled into one. Dum Dum, voiced by Alan Reed, served as the loyal but bewildered sidekick, echoing that classic duo formula, Hanna-Barbera, perfected optimist and straight man, chaos and calm. Each episode was fast-paced, filled with slapstick humor and whimsical sound effects. Even with limited animation, the show's timing and character writing carried it. There was always a moral under the laughter. Courage might look foolish, but it's still courage. Though Touche Turtle and Dum Dum only ran 2 years, it left a lasting impression. The character later appeared on Cartoon Network and Boomerang, winning over a new generation with his cheerful absurdity. Touche may not have changed the world, but he proved that even the smallest knight could dream the biggest dreams and shout "Touche" while doing it. Number 11. Wally Gator. The Wally Gator Show, 1962. In a zoo filled with ordinary animals, Wally Gator was anything but ordinary. Debuting in 1962, this bow-tied, hat-wearing alligator had one goal: to escape the monotony of captivity and experience the human world. Each short episode followed his endless attempts to break free from the zoo, usually ending with his nervous keeper, Mr. Twiddle, dragging him back home. Voiced by Dawes Butler, Wally was a charming mix of politeness, curiosity, and unstoppable optimism. He wasn't trying to cause trouble, he just wanted to belong. Every time he ventured out into a city park, a restaurant, or even a fancy mansion, he discovered that the outside world wasn't quite ready for a talking alligator in formal wear. Hanna-Barbera's minimal animation worked perfectly here, focusing attention on the dialogue-driven comedy. The humor came from Wally's unshakable friendliness, clashing with the panic of the people he met, and through it all, his gentle southern accent and kind-hearted nature made him impossible not to love. There was also a subtle message beneath the laughs. Wally's yearning for freedom reflected the 60s spirit of change and curiosity, an age when everyone wanted to break boundaries and explore something new. He wasn't rebelling, he was dreaming. Although the Wally Gator Show only lasted 1 season, reruns kept him alive for decades on Cartoon Network and Boomerang. He later appeared in Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law, and Jellystone as a nostalgic favorite. Wally Gator's world might have been small, but his heart was enormous. He proved that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is chase a dream, even if it means bumping your head against the same old zoo gate again and again. Number 10. Lippy the Lion and Hardy. Har Har. The Lippy the Lion and Hardy Har Har Show, 1962. Optimism meets pessimism. That's the magic of Lippy the Lion and Hardy Har Har. Premiering in 1962, this offbeat duo became one of Hanna-Barbera's most charmingly odd combinations. Lippy was a slick-talking lion who believed every day was a new opportunity, while Hardy, a moody hyena, saw only disaster around every corner. Together, they turned failure into a fine art. Every episode dropped them into a new scheme, running a business, solving mysteries, or chasing get-rich-quick dreams. No matter the plan, Lippy's enthusiasm led the way, and Hardy's gloomy sighs followed close behind. Their dynamic wasn't about winning, it was about surviving their own foolish ideas with good humor. Voiced by Dawes Butler and Mel Blanc, the pair delivered impeccable comic timing. Butler gave Lippy his carnival barker energy, while Blanc made Hardy's resigned groans feel strangely musical. It was the ultimate cartoon version of the eternal optimist versus realist battle. The series had a deeper charm, too. It captured that 60s truth that sometimes life doesn't go as planned, but laughter can keep you moving. Even when everything fell apart, Lippy never stopped believing that the next adventure would be the big one. Although the show lasted only one season, the characters reappeared in Yogi's Arklark and Jellystone, still bickering, still best friends. Lippy and Hardy may not have conquered the world, but they captured something timeless: the balance between hope and hesitation. In an era full of superheroes and space explorers, these two reminded us that life's funniest stories often come from those who fail together and laugh anyway. Number 9, Ricochet Rabbit, The Magilla Gorilla Show, 1964. Ping, 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 Ricochet Rabbit! With that lightning-fast catchphrase, the wildest sheriff in the West bounced his way into television history. Premiering in 1964 as part of The Magilla Gorilla Show, Ricochet Rabbit was Hanna-Barbera's quick-draw answer to Saturday Morning Adventure. Set in the dusty town of Hoop and Holler, Ricochet was a blur of energy, literally ricocheting off every surface to catch crooks, rescue townsfolk, and restore law and order before anyone else could blink. His deputy, Droop-Along Coyote, moved at a snail's pace, creating the perfect comedy contrast. One hero too fast for his own good, and another too slow to care. Voiced by Don Messick, Ricochet combined the manic rhythm of slapstick comedy with the charm of a classic Western lawman. His optimism, confidence, and accidental chaos turned every chase scene into a mini masterclass in cartoon timing. The desert backdrops, bold color palette, and zany motion were pure 60s style, simple, funny, and fast. Each short delivered high-speed laughs, while gently poking fun at the Western genre that dominated television at the time. Ricochet's enthusiasm often got him into trouble, but his good heart and relentless energy always saw him through. Though his run was brief, the bouncing lawman left a mark far bigger than his screen time. He returned in later revivals, including Yogi's Arklark and Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law, proving that good humor never goes out of fashion. Ricochet Rabbit may not have been the calmest sheriff in town, but he was easily the fastest, and in the world of Hanna-Barbera, that was more than enough to make him unforgettable. Number 8, El Kabong. Quick Draw, McGraw's alter ego, 1959 to 1962. Before Caped Crusaders filled movie screens, Hanna-Barbera had El Kabong, a masked horse with a mission and a guitar. The alter ego of Quick Draw McGraw, El Kabong galloped onto screens from 1959 to 1962, parodying the daring swashbucklers of Hollywood with slapstick brilliance. Armed with nothing but a Spanish accent and a trusty guitar he used to kabong villains, El Kabong became an instant favorite. His dramatic entrances, booming speeches, and complete lack of self-awareness made him one of the funniest heroes the studio ever created. Dawes Butler voiced him with an exaggerated flair, blending mock seriousness with pure absurdity. Each segment followed El Kabong's over-the-top attempts to save the day, often turning small misunderstandings into grand adventures. His loyal sidekick, Baba Louie, tried in vain to keep him grounded, but El Kabong's sense of drama always won out. Whether he was chasing bandits or saving townsfolk, he did it with unmatched theatrical flair, and usually a few dents in his guitar. The humor came from the contrast between El Kabong's confidence and his complete incompetence. He was noble, brave, and utterly clueless, proving that good intentions can be just as funny as success. Though part of the Quick Draw McGraw show, El Kabong became a legend in his own right, resurfacing in later Hanna-Barbera specials, and even inspiring future cartoon parodies of masked heroes. He was silly, self-serious, and spectacular all at once, a horse who taught audiences that heroism can come in any form, especially when it's holding a guitar. Number 7, Adam Ant, The Adam Ant Show, 1965. Up and Adam Ant. Tiny in size but massive in spirit, this six-legged superhero buzzed onto screens in 1965 with enough energy to power a whole city. From his underground anthill headquarters, Adam Ant zipped across town, fighting villains, foiling crooks, and saving the day before most heroes could tie their capes. Voiced by Howard Morris, Adam Ant was polite, fearless, and fast, combining the classic superhero mold with Hanna-Barbera humor. His strength rivaled giants, his speed defied logic, and his optimism made him irresistible to young audiences. He embodied the idea that even the smallest heroes could make the biggest difference. Each episode mixed quick action with clever comedy. Hanna-Barbera's simple animation style let the jokes and pacing shine, relying on snappy dialogue and cheerful sound effects to create motion where none existed. Adam Ant's adventures often involved outsmarting villains who underestimated him, a running theme that gave the show heart as well as humor. The series also reflected the optimism of the mid-60s, a time when science, space, and imagination fueled children's dreams. Adam Ant was a hero of invention and confidence, proving that courage didn't depend on size or status. Though his show ended after one season, Adam Ant returned in crossover specials and later appearances in Harvey Birdman and Jellystone. He's remembered not just as a cartoon bug, but as the ultimate symbol of fearless ambition. In a world full of towering heroes, Adam Ant stood small, proud, and unstoppable. Number 6, Precious Pup, The Adam Ant and Secret Squirrel Show, 1965. Before Scooby-Doo solved mysteries or Muttley laughed his wheezy laugh, there was Precious Pup, the original chuckling canine of Hanna-Barbera's lineup. Debuting in 1965 as part of the Adam Ant and Secret Squirrel Show, this scruffy little dog lived with his sweet owner, Granny Sweet, who believed he was the most well-behaved pet in the world. She couldn't have been more wrong, and that's what made it funny. When Granny wasn't looking, Precious Pup turned into a mischievous prankster. He outsmarted thieves, foiled bullies, and pulled off clever stunts with his trademark giggle, a raspy wheeze that became his signature sound. Voiced by Don Messick, that laugh was so memorable, it later inspired Muttley in wacky races. But where Muttley was sarcastic, Precious Pup was just joyfully naughty. Every short followed a simple, effective formula. Granny would stroll through her day, blissfully unaware that her dog was saving her from trouble or causing it. She'd thank him for being so precious, and he'd respond with that infectious laugh, wagging his tail like the world's happiest schemer. The humor was clever, never mean-spirited. Precious Pup didn't need words to get a laugh. His timing, expressions, and that wheezy chuckle did all the work. The series reflected Hanna-Barbera's genius for visual rhythm and character-driven comedy, even with limited animation. Though his show only ran for one season, Precious Pup became a quiet legend. His DNA lived on in nearly every Hanna-Barbera dog that followed, proving that laughter, especially the wheezy kind, never really fades. Squiddly Diddly, The Adam Ant and Secret Squirrel Show, 1965. Imagine an octopus who just wants to be a star. That's Squiddly Diddly, the purple hat-wearing sea creature who swam into the Adam Ant and Secret Squirrel Show in 1965. He worked as a janitor at Bubbleland Park, an underwater amusement park, but dreamed of escaping to become a world-famous musician. Voiced by Paul Frees, Squiddly was naive, kind, and hilariously determined. Every episode followed his attempts to perform singing, playing instruments, or putting on shows, while his grumpy boss, Chief Winchley, tried to stop him from turning the park into chaos. Naturally, Squiddly never gave up. The show's humor came from his mix of optimism and clumsiness. He'd always start with confidence, only to end up tangled in his own tentacles or a tuba. But that was the charm. Underneath the slapstick was a sweet story about chasing dreams no matter how many times you fail. Hanna-Barbera's minimalist animation worked beautifully here. The soft colors, bubbly sound design, and playful score made every underwater scene come alive. Squiddly's wide-eyed innocence and goofy determination gave him a lasting appeal, even among stronger Hanna-Barbera characters. He reappeared years later in crossover specials and Jellystone, still chasing stardom with the same unshakable enthusiasm. Squiddly Diddly may not have made it to Broadway, but in the world of cartoons, he earned something better, timeless charm, and a permanent smile from every kid who ever had a dream too big for their world. Number 4, Peter Potamus, The Peter Potamus Show, 1964. In the colorful world of the 60s, few cartoon heroes were as laid back or as purple as Peter Potamus. Premiering in 1964, The Peter Potamus Show followed this balloon-flying hippopotamus and his monkey companion, So-So, as they traveled through time and space in search of adventure. Peter's trademark move was the Hippo Hurricane Holler, a mighty yell that could blow away enemies, obstacles, or entire castles if needed. Voiced by Dawes Butler, Peter was calm, confident, and full of polite humor. A cheerful explorer rather than a fighter. So voiced by Don Messick, provided perfect comic contrast with his jittery energy. Each episode dropped them into a new era, ancient Greece, the Wild West, even futuristic cities blending adventure with clever humor. The show's simple animation and bold pastel designs gave it a breezy, optimistic tone. It wasn't about deep plots or high stakes. It was about fun, friendship, and curiosity. Peter Potamus reflected the spirit of the 1960s perfectly. Playful, curious, and ready to explore the unknown. He was the kind of hero who preferred laughter to combat, diplomacy to drama. And while the show lasted only one season, its relaxed pace and clever premise earned it cult status among Hanna-Barbera fans. Over the years, Peter floated back into the spotlight in specials like Yogi's Ark Lark and Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law. He never lost his sense of wonder or his balloon. Peter Potamus may have drifted off television, but he remains the ultimate easygoing adventurer, cool under pressure, calm in chaos, and always ready for one more trip around the timeline. Number 3. Yakky Doodle, The Yogi Bear Show, 1961. Small, yellow, and endlessly brave Yakky Doodle was the duckling who never knew when to quit. Debuting in 1961 as part of The Yogi Bear Show, Yakky waddled his way into the hearts of viewers everywhere. He wasn't fast, strong, or smart, but he had one quality that made him unforgettable: unshakable optimism. Yakky's stories were simple, but full of charm. He'd wander into danger, usually getting chased by cats, foxes, or hungry predators who wanted to make him their next meal. Luckily, his best friend Chopper the bulldog was always there to save him. Their friendship was pure gold, a big, gruff protector, and a tiny, fearless duck who saw the good in everyone. Voiced by Jimmy Weldon, Yakky's high-pitched voice gave him the innocence of a child who never stops believing the world can be kind. He wasn't clever like Yogi Bear or daring like Huckleberry Hound, but he had something more powerful: heart. Every episode turned his optimism into both comedy and warmth, proving that even small acts of courage can shine. The show's design was classic Hanna-Barbera: bright colors, looping backgrounds, and witty timing, but its emotional tone stood out. Yakky and Chopper's bond carried a subtle message about loyalty, friendship, and the strength to keep going when the odds are stacked against you. Though he only appeared in one season, Yakky made cameos for decades afterward, from Yogi's Gang to Jellystone. He never changed, and that was the beauty of it. In a world full of loud heroes, Yakky Doodle stayed soft, sincere, and unforgettable, the little duck who taught everyone that bravery doesn't need feathers of steel. Number 2. Snagglepuss, The Yogi Bear Show, 1961. Heavens to Murgatroyd! Exit, stage left. If you recognize that, you already know the worst pink mountain lion who turned drama into comedy, Snagglepuss. Bursting onto the Yogi Bear Show in 1961, he was one of Hanna-Barbera's most original creations, a charming, overly dramatic performer who treated life like one long stage play. Snagglepuss didn't fight crime or chase villains. Instead, he wrestled with everyday absurdity, trying to make it in show business, avoiding hunters, or simply outsmarting those who didn't appreciate his flair. Voiced by Dawes Butler, his refined diction and theatrical phrasing gave the character a Shakespearean tone that was both hilarious and endearing. The genius of Snagglepuss was his personality. He wasn't cool or tough like other cartoon leads. He was elegant, clever, and full of exaggerated self-confidence. Every setback became a performance. Every escape, a standing ovation. He was the actor, the critic, and the punchline all at once. The animation was bright and simple, but Snagglepuss's dialogue carried the show. His mix of sophisticated humor and innocent vanity appealed to both children and adults. Over time, he became one of the studio's most quoted characters, his catchphrases slipping into pop culture and living far beyond the original series. Snagglepuss made countless comeback appearances across Hanna-Barbera's universe and continues to inspire modern reinterpretations. He proved that charm, wit, and style could outshine strength or speed. In a world full of brawlers, Snagglepuss taught us all that sometimes the grandest victory is knowing how to make an exit with grace. Number 1. Benny the Ball, Top Cat, 1961 to 1962. Every great leader needs a heart, and for Top Cat, that heart was Benny the Ball. Premiering in 1961, Top Cat introduced a band of back-alley con artists led by the slick-talking TC. But among all the fast talkers and schemers, Benny stood out as the one who kept the gang grounded. Round, soft-spoken, and endlessly kind, Benny wasn't the brains of the operation, he was its soul. While Top Cat dreamed big and hustled hard, Benny followed out of loyalty and affection. He was the quiet moral compass of the group, reminding TC and his friends that friendship mattered more than quick money. Voiced by Morris Gosfield, Benny's warm, gentle delivery made him instantly lovable. Gosfield's real-life role as Private Doberman in the Phil Silvers Show inspired Benny's personality, earnest, loyal, and just a little naive. He wasn't the funny one, or the flashy one, but he gave the show its heart. Top Cat reflected urban 60s humor, with jazz-inspired rhythm and clever writing, and Benny balanced the fast-talking energy with slow, steady charm. He looked out for others, asked the right questions, and sometimes stumbled into wisdom that even Top Cat couldn't deny. Though Top Cat lasted just one season, reruns turned it into a worldwide classic, especially in Latin America, where Benny became a fan favorite. He later reappeared in specials and reboots, still the same loyal blue cat with the kindest heart in the alley. In a world full of hustlers, Benny the Ball stood for something simple: decency. He wasn't cool or cunning, but he was good. And sometimes that's what makes a character last forever. So there you have it, 12 forgotten gems from the golden age of Hanna-Barbera, each bursting with color, wit, and that timeless Saturday morning magic. From brave turtles to theatrical lions, these characters shaped childhoods long before the digital era arrived. They may not headline the cartoons of today, but their laughter, catchphrases, and optimism still echo through animation history. Which one do you remember best? Let us know in the comments, subscribe for more nostalgia, and keep the reel spinning.